Hey everyone, it's Kenlin, and I'm going to do a transmission on Pluto in Aquarius. And I'm going to do it from the perspective of why do we care? Why does it matter? There's a lot out there, and I love listening to other people's perspectives. And my perspective is really about evolutionary feminine leadership. Because what I see at stake, this Pluto in Aquarius opens up possibilities for what's at stake. So if you think about it, we're changing ages, like epochs, like eras, like huge ages. Remember the dinosaur age and then the age of mammals? It's kind of like that in our consciousness. So it becomes important to dial in what the possibilities are, what the shadows are, to be aware and awake. And then what is your particular role? And then also, I would say, what's our particular role together? Because there's a uniqueness coming through you, but then there's also going to be, what are we preserving in here? And hopefully I'm going to get to all of that. And if not, I'll break this up into a couple videos. So I presence at beginning that we're changing into an age, a new age. And in the tarot, Aquarius is associated with the star card. It is hope. So like that gives me chills. We have hope. Now we can't get lost in hope because hope requires action. And I don't even like hope energy, because hope energy is kind of like, I hope it'll happen, which means really that there's fear energy. And so I want to use hope in the highest octave of hope, which is like this optimism that, you know what, we can do it. And the reason why we can do it is because we're here and we're having the conversation of it. And what is the it that we're doing? We are evolving ourselves into the highest expression of humanity that's possible for the benefit not only of ourselves, but all beings, including the planet. Like that's the context. And that becomes the very thing that's at stake right now. We have beat up our world. Everybody agree with that? Like we've just beat it to hell with toxicity, with pollution, with overcrowding, like we've just beat it up. And we're going to get this chance, this opportunity to come into a new mind, because Uranus rules Aquarius. And so Uranus is going to be quickening us to wake up. It's the great awakener. So couple that Uranian rulership of the energy of Aquarius, which is very innovative. And then you put Pluto in there that's transiting for the next 19 years, Aquarius. And it's going to cause a death and a rebirth, which is the definition of transformation. Meaning that you and the collective, all of us, will be totally different people at the end of this 19-year cycle. And that 19-year, the ripple effect will go on for the rest of our lives, and indeed, probably for the rest of humanity. So it's this moment that it gets seated. I feel that in my bones. It's just a context. All things like this are contexts. And context can help us move forward in a powerful way. Because I can have a context that it's totally dystopian and we're fucked and we're going to just go into AI world with deep fakes. And that will be there. I'm not saying that we won't have a shadow, because we live in duality and we will. But that's not the future I'm choosing. And we have a choice, because 50%, let's just say 50%, whatever percent, we have free will here. We have a template. We have laws. We have natural laws. And we have our free will of who we want to be inside of those natural laws, which is our frequency. So it helps to know the shadow side, because otherwise our autopilot, that fear-driven reptilian part of our brain, is going to get freaked out, and it's just going to get myopic, and it's going to shut down what really wants to come through. And to me, I'm speaking to evolutionary feminine leaders, and I use leadership. That word means that you have influence, and that could be influence of your vibration. It doesn't have to be influence because you hold a seat in government. That's like the old paradigm. The new paradigm is that you lead through your vibration. And that's the transmission of Gene Key 41. So if you want to hear more, hop over to that video, because I'm not going to go through that here. It's too much to go through. So the Aquarian archetype, this is where Pluto is transiting 0 degrees today as I do this transmission. It's a very slow moving planet, not even a planet, but celestial body. So we're going to get a lot of time to explore this archetype. And I already did a video on where you can find this archetype in your chart and how it can affect you. So check that out. But in this transmission, let's look at macro and be aware of the context that we're living in so that we can live more powerfully. Capricorn, structures, government, like tradition. Aquarius, like freaking rule breaker, rebel, innovator, on the outside. It's the heretic. It's everybody who wasn't accepted inside of the establishment is over here, and that over here now is Aquarian. So it's represented by, you know, flying your freak flag, being different, being an individual. Aquarians are here to bring through the evolution, the uniqueness, to show us our range and to not necessarily walk the middle line. So as one astrologer put it, Capricorn is that closed system. And that's what Pluto took a wrecking ball to, that closed system. And the internet played that role, right? The Aquarian technology played a role. And now we got to see, oh, that so-and-so was recorded, you know, whatever politician was recorded in their corruption. And that always happened. Remember, you know, Watergate and all that. But now it's like viral on the internet. So that ability for us to see everything that's going on is an Aquarian technology, because it's saying, people, get activated. This is for the people. It's grassroots. It's a time where the people take their power back. Now, that can be a super shadow where it's like a freaking mob scene, where it's like crazy, hysterical, deluded mobs getting sucked into ideologies. I think of Hitler when I think of that, like those images of all these people in the streets hailing Hitler. That's like an ideology of the delusion of the masses. Like, that shit's real. That shit lives in our psyche. That's psychosis. And that can get activated. So why do we want to know that? We want to awaken to that because we want to check our own minds. Anytime we get into this fixed air sign, it just thinks it knows everything. And then it becomes ideological. And all ideology is based on beliefs, and all beliefs are inherently wrong and could be right. Nothing's 100% false. But that just is for comfort and certainty. We're going to go with this ideology, and we're going to ignore the rest of the truths out there. So that's entirely possible. So we have to watch that inside of us. We have AI already, and we've already seen these vestiges of what technology, exponential technology, can do through like ChatGPT. Some of it's in service. Some of it is just putting out lots of garbage. We also see a total fake news, fake videos, fake representations of people, fake voices, deep fake. That's also Aquarian. So we're going to want to have a barometer inside of us toward the truth. So if you drink your own Kool-Aid, go back to my Gene Key 61 transmission. That's like the drinking your own Kool-Aid transmission. That's psychosis. And if you have a defined crown in human design, you know, your gift is divine communication, but your shadow is drinking your own Kool-Aid. So be really questioning that in yourself and in the collective. It's going to require incredible discernment on our parts. And so how do we know things? You know, Aquarius is I know. How do we know things? Do we know them because they align with our beliefs and all of our confirmation biases? Do we know them because so-and-so who I follow told me? That's not knowing. That's believing. And believing is going to get a wrecking ball to it. Believing is not what we're here. The true spirit of Aquarius is that everybody gets to be their unique self. And so I don't need to have a belief that excludes other people. In fact, I can include other people and their beliefs. And it doesn't mean that that has to even be my truth, because I'm holding all of it lightly. You know, we only see through a glass dimly. And our job is to keep cleaning the glass of our consciousness. And that never involves a belief. So we get to be in just deep discernment. And someone said, this astrologer I follow said, let's not put all of our eggs in the hope basket. Yeah, let's put our eggs in the action basket and who we're being in action. Because we can all go like, technology will save us. You know, they're going to come up with a solution to clean all the plastic shit out of the oceans. Yay. Well, they probably are. That's an innovation. But even the most sophisticated technology can't save a species whose mind is corrupt. That's why I laugh at like these, let's, you know, we've already screwed up Earth. Let's go to Mars and start over. You know, like, really? You're going to bring your same mind to Mars? No, we have to have a revolution in mind, a revolution in our thinking. And that's going to happen. It can happen inside of Aquarius because it's just a disruptor technology. And that's why I did a video on receiving your new mission. So check that out, because you can't bring the old, like whatever your old mission was or whatever your plans and ideas that was through the Gene Key 41 transmission, you can just freaking give it up, you know, because the new that wants to come through has never been done before. It's never come through before. Hasn't come through you before as you. So yeah, it's time that we embrace something new. And that's going to require what the Buddhists say, don't know mind. If you think you know everything, then you will insulate yourself from an even deeper truth. Well, let's also say Aquarius is humanitarian. So it sits on the axes of Leo Aquarius, Leo being the magnanimous leader, the heart leader, the courageous leader. That's one of the higher expressions of Leo, right? Or the intention getter. It's all me, but it's a very I energy. Whereas Aquarius is a very we energy. So inside of Aquarius is Leo, right? We're bringing our humanity, our particularity, our leadership as this template into service for the collective. That's all the axes points contain the equal and opposite inside of them. So let's bring forth our leadership, are the best of ourselves to this collective. So it's going to be about finding your tribe, finding your people, because it's about groups and the coming together in groups. You know, it's humanitarian, but in a detached way, because Aquarius is very detached. If you've ever dated any, which I have, they can be detached. And so we have to remember to keep the humanity in humanitarian. And that Leo will help us do that, because Leo is a heart-based energy. It's going to be decentralized power. So I love how Pam Gregory continues to say that even though power is getting consolidated, the movement in Aquarius is decentralization. So we might even see countries, like let's imagine even the United States, breaking up into smaller countries. Wouldn't that be interesting? Because it's more in affinity groups. Because we already know that parts of the United States have nothing in common with other parts of the United States, that there's like total opposition in terms of viewpoints, the way that worldviews, the way we see the world, even belief systems. So what would happen if there were successions, decentralizing power, which could go along with the United States Pluto return? Its Pluto is in Capricorn, and the loss of power as the United States, you know, because now it's breaking down. And I'm not saying it's going to, but it's entirely possible. I know there are other countries that are rewriting their constitutions because they were like, you know, what we thought then isn't what we think now. And some countries are making nature have a role, like that's our job, is to protect nature. Like that's not in our constitution. We don't have to protect nature. And yet it's our like oxygen supply. It's our ability to live here is dependent on nature. And so some constitutions are being rewritten, and that's a very Aquarian thing to do. Aquarius people are evolutionary change makers, not interested in status quo. So wherever you're finding in your chart where Aquarius is, like think about how you can do it differently, that it is not the status quo, where you're going to bring through your own innovation. One of the things an astrologer pointed out, and I think it's really important to presence, and I think we're going to get some help in this direction, is that Aquarius is a very neutral air energy that is not emotional. And so it can be devoid of spirit. And so they were saying, like, let's allow some Piscean energy, the oneness consciousness, to like all of our innovations. Let's give it to the highest level expression, give it to God, goddess, and let the divine transform and really even be the one responsible through us of creating these innovations. And I love that idea, because after all, that's really what I'm here for. I'm not here for a utopian or dystopian version that is devoid of spirit or devoid of nature. I'm just not here for it. That's like I'm a no to that. I'm a yes to nature and our spirit in a body, heaven on earth. So how those technologies get rolled out and integrated into society, let's let them be infused with spirit. And I think we're going to get some help, because right now what's helping us is the nodal axis is pointing in the north node toward Aries, which is allowing us to step into our boldness and leave behind our codependent patterns. And it's a very I am statement, but it's also going to shift in, less than 18 months, because it's just usually an 18-month cycle. It's going to shift into the North Node in Pisces. And the North Node in Pisces is going to bring forth more spirituality. So I think that's going to be a big boon for those of us who have that vision of more spiritual connection in the midst of maybe a dry, technocratic world. There's going to be we're going to find these threads of aliveness in our interiority and be able to bring the innovations through. I also think that that's going to be spiritual technology. That's where we're going to be able to quantum leap. Maybe like when people talk about going into 5D, and I always think of that movie Interstellar. If you haven't seen it, like freaking see it. It's prescient, it's like what's possible here and now. And particularly when the movement into Aquarius and the air energy takes us into the multiverse and different dimensional realities. Like that's entirely possible. And I've done transmissions on the map of consciousness called the imaginal realm. So maybe this is another video, honestly, like some of the spiritual, I think that's it, the spiritual possibilities inside this age of Aquarius. Okay, look for that next. But for now, let me just look at my notes and see if there's anything. Okay, yeah, let's get into, before I end, the Plutonian aspect of Aquarius. So Pluto, the wrecking ball, the Lord of death and rebirth, transformation, entering into Aquarius. It's going to act as this kind of, like, I'm doing this with my hands, like this detoxing, flushing. And because that's really what Pluto does. It dredges up from the dregs that which we cannot see so that we can see it. I think it's an evolutionary transit that's happening right now. I think it's going to catapult us into a new world. And the more we know, and the more we are awake, and we are working on our vibration and continually feeding ourselves with the information of remembering who we are, then we can change the course of our reality. Oh, that's so exciting. And so Pluto will bring transformation to some area of your life, and indeed to our world. And we don't know what that's going to look like. We've already started to see it in the money realm, because the US had its Pluto return in the second house, money. So cryptocurrency, inflation, debt, like all these things are brought to our attention so that new innovation can happen. And how can it be more fair, more equitable? Because Aquarius wants it to be in equality. And so let's circle back to where we began, and that is what is at stake. And for me, what's at stake is nature, is organic life, is our humanity. So there's support for all of that, and we're going to have to choose it. That doesn't mean that we will have to like not choose technology, because we're not really going to have a choice in that. You know, things change and you get upgrades on your phone and your computer, or they go away. You know, you don't have a choice about that. Innovation is going to happen. And so you will have to be on the side of that. But it doesn't mean that you have to fall asleep. It means you can stay awake inside of that innovation and constantly remember who you are and who you serve. You cannot serve two masters. So if I am here to serve Gaia, spirit, coming into wholeness, coming into right relationship with Earth, using technology to support Earth. That's like, to me, how I hold the feminine. Like the masculine is in service to the feminine, because the feminine is the primordial Shakti. And the masculine is here to serve with structures and direction and directives and action. So likewise, we're here to serve our mission of Earth. You know, and it's going to get interesting, because Aquarius is going to bring other galactic species to our awareness. There's a lot in that one. I'm going to leave that one there, and, you know, maybe I'll do another video on that at some point. We are going to really see our galactic nature. When I had my light body activation a year ago, which Pam Gregory told me when I was interviewing her, that was Uranian, like, because Uranus is not sustained activation. It's just bursts. So I had this light body activation, a very burst of light that I saw who and what I really am as light. That's really the only way I can explain it. But I heard myself say, you know, I am of the light, I am of the light. And I knew I was being initiated into my light body, but I also heard, I am a galactic citizen. Now, I don't even really know what that means, except that I know that it feels like true. Yes, of course. And I think the age of Aquarius will get us to really understand, what does that mean? And we're going to start getting used to that humans are not the only sentient species. I mean, I think all life is sentient. And for so long, humans have had the story that we are the top of the food chain, when really we're simply the most dominant species on Earth, but we are maybe not even the most sentient species. Like, certainly mycelium, I'm going to give them the vote right now of being the most sentient species. We're super limited. And so we really are poised to open up in our spiritual awareness and receive information, but that's going to require us to let go of old ways of thinking, let go of dogmatism, let go of ideologies, let go of idealization, which is projecting onto something out there that it's better than what is in here. Like, there's so much more we are going to have to shed in order to open to our gifts. And Uranus is going to give us these bursts of it. So I'm going to end here. That's enough. That's enough. Digest this, listen to it a couple times to let this get inside of you. Because I'm just pointing, you know, how it unfolds is really up to us. Thank you for joining. I'll see you in the next video.